Hello everyone, this is Dr. Janvi Shukla giving a presentation on tongue. Everybody must be knowing what is tongue. It's a muscular organ that is situated in the floor of the mouth. Basic functions are taste, speech, chewing, deglutition. There are three parts of tongue basically. There is root, there is tip, and there is body. Body has another two parts, that is curved upper surface or dorsum and an inferior surface. Starting with the root is attached to styloid process and soft palate above and to mandible and the hyoid bone below. Because of these attachments, we are not able to swallow tongue itself. In between mandible and hyoid bones, it is related to geniohyoid and mylohyoid muscles. Coming to second part, that is tip. So tip forms the anterior free end which at rest lies behind the upper incisor teeth. Coming to body, covering the first part of the body, that is dorsum, it is obviously convex. It is divided into two parts, that is oral part and the pharyngeal part. So as you can see, this is the oral part and this is the pharyngeal part. The oral is anterior 2/3 part and the pharyngeal part is posterior 1/3. So the two limbs of the V for the pharyngeal part. So they meet at a median pit that is known as foramen cecum. So this is V and this V is known as sulcus terminalis, and the ends of the V, they meet somewhat over here. So it is termed as foramen cecum. They run laterally and forwards up to palatoglossal arches. The foramen cecum represents the site from which the thyroid diverticulum grows down in embryo. The second part is the inferior part, so it is confined to oral part only. Papillae of the tongue. So these papillae are basically of four types. First is circumvallate. They are large in size, 1 to 2 millimeter in diameter, and are 8 to 12 in number. They are situated immediately in front of sulcus terminalis. Each papilla is cylindrical in projection, surrounded by a circular sulcus, and the walls have taste buds. The fungiform papillae are near the tip and margin of the tongue. So some also are found scattered near the dorsum, smaller than vellet but larger than filiform, and consist of narrow pedicle and large rounded head, bright red in color. Third are filiform or the conical ones. They cover the presulcal area of dorsum and give characteristic velvety appearance. Smallest and most numerous. Pointed and covered with keratin. The apex is often split into filamentous processes. Fourth ones are the foliate papillae. This is diagram basically representing what papillae are responsible for what kind of taste and where they are present. Coming to the muscles of the tongue, this is an important topic. There are two, intrinsic muscles and extrinsic muscles. Starting with the intrinsic muscles, they occupy the upper part of the tongue, attached to submucous fibrous layer and to the median fibrous septum. They alter the shape of the tongue. So there are basically four. Superior longitudinal muscles, they lie beneath the mucous membrane. As you can see in this diagram, these are the pair of superior longitudinal muscles. They lie beneath the mucous membrane. Inferior longitudinal muscle is a narrow band lying close to inferior surface of the tongue between the genioglossus and hyoglossus. So these are inferior longitudinal muscles. Transverse muscle extends from median septum to the margins. These are transverse muscles. As the name suggests, they are transverse. and vertical muscle is found at the borders of anterior part of the tongue. These over here are vertical muscles. This. So obviously you can copy this diagram. This diagram has been taken from an reference book. So this is very easy to make and it almost covers all the muscles of the tongue. Extrinsic muscles, they connect the tongue to mandible via genioglossus, to the hyoid bone through hyoglossus, to the styloid process via styloglossus, and palate via palatoglossus. Starting with the palatoglossus, so it origins from the oral surface of palatine aponeurosis. Descends in insertion is like it descends in the palatoglossal arches to the side of the tongue at the junction of oral and pharyngeal parts, and action is basically it pulls up the root of the tongue, approximate the palatoglossal arches, and thus closes the oropharyngeal isthmus. Hyoglossus, which connects tongue to the hyoid bone, so origin is whole length of greater cornua and lateral part of the hyoid bone. Insertion is side of the tongue between styloglossus and inferior longitudinal muscles of the tongue. Actions are like it depresses the tongue, makes dorsum convex, retracts the protruded tongue. Styloglossus origins from the tip and part of the anterior surface of the styloid process. Insertion is into the side of the tongue, and action is pulls the tongue upwards and backwards, that is it retracts the tongue. Genioglossus, that is a fan shaped bulky muscle that origins from the upper genial tubercle of the mandible, inserts into upper fibers inserts into the tip of the tongue, middle fibers into the dorsum, and lower fibers into the hyoid bone. And actions, it basically retracts the tongue, depresses the tongue, pulls the posterior part of tongue forwards and protrude the tongue forwards. It is a life saving muscle. Coming to arterial supply of tongue, so it is derived from tortuous lingual artery, which is a branch of external carotid artery. Now the root of the tongue is also supplied by tonsillar artery, which is a branch of facial artery, and ascending pharyngeal branch of external carotid. You can see in this diagram over here the arterial and the venous drainage. Like arterial supply is very complicated. The artery is really like tortuous. Coming to venous drainage, there are vena comitants. They accompany the lingual artery. One vena comitant accompanies the hypoglossal nerve. So the nerve over here you see is the hypoglossal nerve. So the deep lingual vein is the largest and principal vein of tongue. It runs backward and it crosses the genioglossus and hypoglossus below the hypoglossal nerve. This is basically the lymphatic drainage, that is there is a jugulodigastric group of lymph nodes, deep cervical group, and jugulo-omohyoid group of lymph nodes. So you can always draw this diagram. It makes the explanation really simple. That is this part of the tongue is basically drained to deep cervical group of lymph nodes. This part of the tongue, that is the anterior 2/3, that drains to the submandibular group of lymph nodes, and this part to the submental group of lymph nodes. This is the nerve supply. The general sensations and taste are carried by internal laryngeal nerve, that is the branch of vagus nerve. Both general sensation and taste by glossopharyngeal nerve, General sensations bilingual and taste by chorda tympani in different regions. Palatoglossus is supplied by vago-accessory complex. 7 muscles of tongue are supplied by hypoglossal nerve. So yes, thank you. And the only reason I have made my video in a form of a presentation format is that people can make notes of it. But this is my first video, so do let me know the changes I can make. Thank you.